Welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln, where we take a look around the Lincoln, Nebraska area and introduce you to business owners and influential people in the city. We are brought to you by Perch Merch. Perch Merch is a locally owned, custom screen printing and embroidery apparel shop that also specializes in vehicle wraps, decals, and all sorts of promotional products. If your business, school, or team is looking to expand your brand, head to perch-merch.com or call us at 402-217-5212.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln. I'm your host, Chris Beecham. I'm joined by my co-host, Henry Schmick.
What's up, Chris? Super excited.
You're always excited, aren't you? And then we have our producer, Joe Cruz.
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. Very excited for today's show.
Everybody's excited for today. Before we get started, just want to ask everybody to subscribe and like on whatever podcast thing you're listening on. Also, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Brand Lincoln Podcast, where we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff on that. So feel free to like and follow us on those. So today in the Perch Merch studio is owner. Okay, we're going to get to what he owns, but his name is Cody Schmick.
Yeah.
Hi, Cody.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me today, guys.
So I've got a list.
Okay.
Tell me.
It might be easier if Cody
list.
tells us what he owns.
Tell the story?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Or I could just go fast, but mainly Kinkaider.
Yep.
Also Sideshow Spirits.
Yep.
Make him say the German one.
Yeah.
Bierhaus Maisschäler.
Close enough.
Got a
Maisschäler.
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 Maisschäler, I think is the right. If you have a really beautiful accent, German accent, that sounds better.
Yeah, which I don't have at all.
Maisschäler just rolls off the tongue.
So, yeah.
So, okay. Let's talk about all of them.
Yeah. So I got my start. Well, I was an okay student. I'm going to go clear back to high school. I'm going way back. So I graduated in 2002 was my graduating year. Small town, Baird, Nebraska.
Where might that be?
Baird is as far west as you can get and still be in the state of Nebraska. It's kind of almost to Wyoming. I mean, we are like 30 minutes from Torrington, Wyoming.
No kidding.
So as far west as you can get. So people are like, Grand Island's western Nebraska. Grand Island was eastern Nebraska growing up for me. So it's a very small community. My dad was a butcher in this town of 1,200 people. Grew up there. It was a great childhood. It was just like me and my three brothers. We just ran the Wildcat Mountains, and they call them mountains. They're very, very. They look like mountains. They're just very small in the valley there. It was a beautiful place to grow up. It was great. Went to a semester at community college and realized college was not for me. So I actually dropped out and knew I was wanting to be a business owner. So I just kind of started thinking about it, looking at that. Dad was never really I'm going to call him a businessman. I mean, Dad knows how to make money and how to treat people and how to do the retail experience really well. But Dad would not call himself a business guy. Like, he never knew what we had in our accounts. He never knew what bills we had to pay. Mom would do that, and his goal was to own his own business. So in 2005, there was an opportunity for us to buy a grocery store in McCook, Nebraska, which I did not put on the list. So
got it.
Yes. So
Cut it off at 6 items.
Yeah, right. So we grew the grocery store. Me and my three brothers, Dad, Mom, we all moved into a house. We worked our butts off. We grew those stores. We ended up growing it to 4 grocery stores. One of those was actually in Broken Bow, Nebraska. So I moved to Broken Bow. Me and my wife moved up there, and we just started working, living, making friends. We have some great relationships up there. And I wanted to start a craft brewery. Is really what.
Sorry, what year did you say that was?
So this was I bought the grocery store in Broken Bow in 2010.
Okay.
So moved to Broken Bow. We were having babies at the time. It was a good place to be and to have kids, and we had good friends and a good church and all the things that you want when living in that small town life, right? And so I was running the grocery store, kind of immersed into it with these folks, and I saw craft beer growing. I could see it growing, and I could see where it was going, and I could see that on the east and the west coast it was growing. And Nebraska had a couple hits, but there wasn't anything really that had established Nebraska as like this craft beer hub by any means, Zipline was about a year before us, and they were making some waves, but besides that, it was just kind of and I'm mad respect for these guys, but Imperial and Thunderhead had just been around forever, right?
Yeah, they were like the only
they were like the only ones,
Yeah.
and I'm buds with all those dudes. I mean, Trevor is the best, like at Thunderhead, like these guys helped us so much. So we made this decision to start this brewery right as craft beer was like hitting this peak in Nebraska, and whether we did the right things or whatever, we made more good decisions than bad, and kind of rode that wave a little bit into what Nebraska craft beer is now. There's like 70 craft breweries in the state of Nebraska. It feels like it's slowing up a little bit now. I don't know if we're going to have a net gain or a net. I mean, we've always had a net gain in the amount of breweries, right, that have showed up. Whether some have closed, some have opened, but we've always had a net gain. I'm not sure we will now. We've kind of hit this bubble.
At some point, it's got it. Yeah.
So then we started growing Kinkaider. Broken Bow is the first one, just a simple tap room. It was me and 3 other guys. We added on.
No,
go for it.
You just sped way past.
No, sorry. Yeah.
This is like half my life and just went through in 2 minutes, dude.
Sorry.
Were you like a big beer drinker? Like,
I was definitely interested in craft beer. Yeah. So my initial introduction into craft beer, Nebraska craft would have been Empyrean, right? I was a big Third Stone Brown fan, and then I also really liked Dale's Pale Ale was a big one back then, and then the first hoppy beer I ever had was Hopalooya, whatever you want to call it. It was that one in Spilkner, Cortland or Spilkner. What was it called? Do you remember?
I don't drink IPAs. So.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
he drinks lagers.
Anyway, that was the first IPA I'd ever had. And so then I was interested in this world, and I could see the trends of food getting more local, and I was like, craft beer is going to get more local, and it did. Like, Nebraskans don't give a shit about Iowa beer, but they love Nebraska beer.
We're not drinking that.
Yeah.
It sucks, dude.
And so I saw that, and I was like, if we could be the best in Nebraska, and so we're the only one in the top 10 that have still not gone outside of the state lines. Like, we serve everything, every ounce of beer that we produce is sold in Nebraska, at least legally. I mean, I think we've heard rumors that somebody will cross the borders, buy something. Yeah. There's this cat that comes up to Broken Bow once a year in his pickup truck and loads the entire back end with Devil's Gap, our jalapeno beer. He's just a nut
Is it
about
the Bandit?
Is it Joe?
And so we have a suspicion that he's reselling it, but we don't know for sure. And
you just sell it to him and don't ask questions.
Someone follow that truck.
What they do with it. Yeah.
I'm not going to follow him to Texas.
What kind of amount of beer is he buying?
I mean, just like a regular pickup truck full. I mean, it's probably I would say anywhere
a few hundred.
Yeah. I mean,
he gets pulled over for
20,
speeding.
20, 30 cases.
Yeah, you're the cop. What do you?
Well, that's not
It's
illegal.
just
Like, hello,
having a big
officer.
party.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
can
got
take
a
it
lot of
across
friends.
state lines. So
Yeah.
So yeah, we started this thing in Broken Bow, and we were just like, okay, let's.
I'm envisioning like a bunch of dudes in a garage.
Yeah.
Like about killing themselves with weird mixtures that they
Yeah.
Googled on.
Well, back then, YouTube was in its infancy. Like, there isn't a ton of
Guys, this wasn't 50 years ago. This was 10 years ago, guys.
Henry here is a youngin', so he thinks anything that
You had to read an
happened
encyclopedia
when he was a
back
child.
then.
This was okay. So yeah,
he thinks like we didn't even have electricity to him when we were growing up.
So I had partnered with Dan Hodges, aka Dan the Wiser.
Good beer.
Yeah, he's the most well-known brewer in the state. I mean, Joe can probably attest for this. He's the most well-known brewer in the state of Nebraska. We branded him. When I first met Dan, I found, like, I do all the marketing branding for our company, and I found that I'm really good at branding people, like individuals, especially if there's a certain level of authenticity there. And Dan, there's you could call the guy a million different things than I have, but authentic is one of the words that rises to the top for Dan, and he is just this weird Sandhills hippie, which is different than regular hippies. Sandhills hippie that has been homebrewing beer for, like, when I met him, like 13 years. So Dan had had pretty much
He's been in the
made
game.
every mistake. He'd done all the things. He was an avid home brewer, had built himself a very elaborate homebrew system, and he invited me to a beer share in the back of an insurance office in downtown Broken Bow, and it's me and 12 other guys in there. And I was not a brewer; I've never been a brewer, but I would bring like craft beer from the grocery store that I was bringing in, and I was trying to introduce craft. I mean, it was Busch Light, Busch Light, Busch Light. That's all we had in Broken Bow. And then our grocery store started carrying we had a 4-foot display of craft beers and imports. And so I'd bring some of those in, and Danny would bring his beer that he was brewing. It was just consistently the best beer there. So I went home, wrote a business plan, called Danny up, and I said, hey, he had just retired. So Dan had been a mechanic by trade, had turned a wrench for 40 years. I don't know how old that guy is. So Dan was a mechanic by trade, turned a wrench forever, never had an employee, never been an employee, just kind of always worked for himself up in Hodges, Conoco in Thedford, Nebraska, which is like, if you're a Sturgis guy, that's the last stop to get gas, to get food before you head up across the Sandhills to go to Sturgis. So that was his spot. He sold that in 2013, bought himself a brand new Harley, went touring the country, visiting breweries, visiting distilleries with his wife, Alice. He came back. Me and him had become friends. I had bought the grocery store there in town, and I said, Danny, I want to start a brewery in Broken Bow, Nebraska. And he didn't even get off the phone with me. He goes, I'm in. Like, whatever we got to do, let's figure it out. So it was just me and him. We started
what a
searching.
perfect guy to have.
No
The best.
kidding.
Yeah. And I just told him, I said, dude, I'll run the business side. I have an idea for a brand and a marketing plan, and I'll run the tap room. We won't do anything else. You brew beer, I'll pour the beers. That's it. Just super simple, you and I. And then it became a lot less simple, right? As we go.
get into it.
Yeah. So we got 2 other guys in the mix. Nate, who has been a home brewer for actually longer than Danny did. Nate, a great partner. I call him our active silent partner because he doesn't work in the day-to-day, but he does. Nate's written a lot of our recipes over the years. I mean, he's got chops in the craft beer world. When we first opened, he had literally brewed with everybody commercially in the state at that point. I mean, he hasn't since because there's so many new breweries popping up. But at that point, he kind of gave us instant street cred in the craft beer communities, I guess. And so we had him, and then Barry jumps in last. Barry is my partner that me and Barry are counterparts. We run everything together. Dan and Nate, I would say, are kind of silent partners. Barry and I do everything. We talk 15 times a day, and we work really, really well together. If you put Barry and I on paper, it would never, ever work. Honestly, you would think these 2 assholes are never going to get along, you know? But we have... Honestly, in 10 years, we've never even really had I mean, we've had some disagreements, but nothing where, F you or anything like that. It was like, all right, you think this way, I think it's this way. Here's how we're going to go. And there's this mutual respect that we have there because I'm good at everything he sucks at, and he's good at everything I suck at.
So that's perfect. It is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we've just been growing it, man. And
Just
then,
a great, perfect start. Like you grabbing everyone.
That's like
the
the
right
all-star
players.
team.
It's the dream team.
Yep. Yeah. So it started working. We added a restaurant into Broken Bow, which I'm trying to decide if that was a good idea or not. It's killing it, but I mean, our group is of the mindset that if we're going to do it, we want to be the best at it, right? Like, let's do it the best we possibly can. So we actually have a really great restaurant out in Broken Bow that even after 10 years, we're still growing. Like this year, we're up like another 15%. Stupid.
Wow.
It's like, what in the heck is going on out in Broken Bow, bro? Our economic development gal, we'd have these big events, Oktoberfest or whatever, and she'd like walk the parking lot and count license plates and counties. And she's texting, Cody, you brought in 3 different states and 15 different counties to this, And
That's so cool.
So we're this draw, and like the people of Broken Bow had no idea what we were been doing out of the gate, but now they see, oh man, we're putting people in your hotel rooms, they're gassing up at your convenience stores, they're buying breakfast and dinner at restaurants, and so it's been a really cool economic driver for the community as well. Broken Bow fully jumped on board with us early. We did a crowdfunding campaign, kind of a Kickstarter campaign, not on Kickstarter. I made these rack cards, and it had levels from $100 to $10,000, and I handed them out in the community. And we ended up raising about $50K before even
Oh, my
anybody
gosh.
knew what we were doing. And those people, I bring them into they had a level of perks at the start, but every year we throw a big party for them. So it's called our Pioneer Party. We bring them in, we bring in entertainment.
That's awesome. And it's awesome you still do that.
Dude, 10 years, we're still going to do it. And
That's
every year I
awesome.
give them a gift. They'll get a new, so this year they got the 10-year shirt, right? So we made these 10-year shirts, and it's got a bunch of our stats on the back, and they love it, man. And like every person they talk to, they're like, yeah, I was a part of getting this started.
Yeah, they're
And
proud to
so
be a part of
we
that.
got a lot of
I
community,
would-
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we went. That was Broken Bow to start. Grand Island was number 2. That happened in 17. That's restaurant focused as well. We went into a 100-year-old building, Mickelson Theater. It was a play theater back in the day. And then in the 80s, it became this. It was the hot spot, right? All the judges, all the lawyers, all the cops, everybody. This was the spot. And this guy's name was Robert Manhood, if you can believe it. Robert
That's
Manhood.
a badass.
Dude, can you imagine a villain in a movie, Bobby Manhood?
Robert Wood's Dick Manhood is what it technically is.
Manhood. By
So Robert-
reputation.
I see why he goes by Robert.
I become pretty good friends with Robert, but Robert actually had a place in Grand Island where Nathan Detroit's is what it was called. And so if you're from GI or if you have any ties to GI, you have a Nathan Detroit story, right? So this building already has all this local history, and then we go in there, put Kinkaider in, and it's been really awesome. I mean, one of my favorite stories about that is I was cleaning out. Robert was a bit of a hoarder, and I was throwing out tons of shit, just getting it out of there, and I find this little tiny safe underneath a pile of trash in the basement. And I take it over to the locksmith next door. She pops it open for me. And
That's where they find the diamonds.
I pop it open, and there's an envelope about this thick, sealed envelope, and I go, oh, shit. If this is cash. This is a lot of cash. Pop it open. It's full of $100 bills. There's $7,000 and $100
Holy
No
cow.
kidding.
and so at this point, I was working like 16, 18-hour days trying to get this place open, right? And I fanned it out, sent it to my wife. I said, well, see, babe, we're already making money. All my hard work is paying off.
Yeah, I told you, honey, it was going to work.
Man.
Robert, rewind. Robert has taken more illegal bets than anybody in the state of Nebraska. And I found this, like rooms full of the paperwork.
Like ledgers and stuff.
Ledgers,
Oh, my
bro.
gosh.
Rooms full. And so Robert he would come in every morning and drink. I'd pour him a cup of coffee because it was his place for years. I wanted to be respectful and pour him a cup of coffee, and he'd tell me all the things he didn't like that I was doing. And I was like, well, I don't give a shit.
Just
Here
sit
you go,
there and
Robert.
listen, yeah.
Drink up.
Here's your cup.
And Robert goes, I said, Robert, I found some money down the basement. And he goes, oh? And I said, I think it's yours. He goes, well, if it was mine, it was $7,000 in a sealed envelope.
No kidding.
So I slap it down on the bar, and I go, what the heck? Why $7,000? He goes, every time I got his extra $7,000, I'd seal it in an envelope and I'd hide it from myself. So you'll probably find more.
Yeah.
So my theory is
Oh
I've
my
had some
gosh.
good cooks just walk out over the years. I think those guys found
They
$7,000.
found it, and then
And I'm
I'm
out.
out of here.
So he goes, Cody, you could have kept that. You didn't legally. You could have kept. This is your place now. It's whatever's here is yours. And I said, Robert, it wouldn't have been right. This is your money.
Yeah.
I said,
You don't need that karma.
yeah. He goes, what? Wow. Yeah. I said, Robert, what are you going to do with this? Where are you going to go? And he gets this shit-eating grin on his face. He goes, I'm going to the horse races.
Yep.
So Robert blew all 7K at the horse races
Oh
that
my
day.
gosh. But he probably had fun.
He had a blast, bro. He had a blast. So every time I'm in town, I want to have dinner. I have dinner with Robert. We talk about it, and he loves what we're doing there, So then we came to Lincoln, 2018, our little tap room in downtown Lincoln. It was a good time for me and my wife to relocate. All her family's in Omaha. My family's all here, and so we moved up here. It's been awesome. That little tap room just rocks, man. It's made
And that
money
popped
since
up like
day one.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I knew about Kinkaider, and then I turned the corner, and holy smokes, there's one right in our backyard.
We did it really fast. It's owned by the Arter Group. Jim Arter, I cannot sing his praises enough. He's the best landlord ever, dude. And we built out a bar and it was a ticket booth for the train, for Amtrak is what it was.
Then it was
an olive oil
yes,
shop.
the
yeah.
olive oil place.
Yeah.
A what?
An
They said-
olive oil shop.
It was actually quite good.
Yeah, so it's like really high-end olive oils from Italy and France.
Different
and all over
flavors
the
and
place.
stuff.
Yeah. I think it was a front, bro.
It's not there anymore. So.
Find more wads of cash.
Yeah,
in
have you
the
found
safe.
any safes in the
Yeah. Breaking down walls.
So then we opened that one. So Kinkaider now is establishing itself as a brand across Nebraska. We're in 700 accounts throughout the state, selling bottles, cans, kegged beer, and growing. And it's feeling good. We're doing some cool events down here. And so
why no restaurant here? Why do we not get a restaurant?
Because restaurants are really, really hard to run. And I found in population centers, Lincoln and Omaha, I can do either no food or minimal food and make more money. Essentially.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'll just give you quick math. A restaurant that does $1.5 million a year or a bar that does $0.5, $500,000 a year will do the same amount of profit, at least in my world.
Yeah.
As
Especially if you're selling your own stuff.
with a lot less headache, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
And now we've built this ecosystem now where we're brewing the beer, we're making the vodka, we're aging the whiskey, we're building the cocktails, we're doing it, we're making the sausage, we're creating everything, and so nobody can match what we're doing. And then we're making the money on the production side, but also on the retail side. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
great.
This idea. I think you're living every guy's dream right now. So, yeah, let's move into that then.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, I'm bored. I don't want to just do beer anymore. Right. So let's open up a distillery.
So as we have built this team, Barry and I have built like a group of people that if the ship starts sinking, we know the people we can call on and we could keep this sucker afloat, right? Like, so COVID, for instance, Lincoln, Broken Bow, they didn't even know COVID was happening. In Lincoln, it's like we have some of the harshest freaking measures ever, right? Especially on our industry in particular. I felt like they picked on the bar. I mean, when I'm walking into Hobby Lobby and Walmart and it's packed to the gills with people and I can't have 10 dudes drinking at my bar, that's where I was really struggling with that, right? And so, but during that time, we had to lay off some part-timers and we were in the place where we kept every full-timer employed through that whole thing. And so we actually got to see what I've always bragged about is when everything else goes away, will this core group of people be able to run our business? And they could, like we did a really good job handling COVID through there. We made a few mistakes, but we did a really good job handling it. And we dialed back up quickly because of that. And so we really try to develop this group of people that can handle anything, right? And so when we developed this group around Kinkaider, but then we're like, everybody can take on more. Like we kind of just didn't feel like there was areas of like stress or like people were having fun. We were doing the right things. The P&Ls were looking good. And so we're like, okay, what is next? And I've always wanted to do a distillery. Like that's a big one for me. I think my argument's this: we got better corn, better water, and better climate than Kentucky. Why don't we have better whiskey? And so we're trying to change that. And so we are playing in the premium and super premium place only. I have zero interest in being in your well. I have zero interest in being a special at your bar. I don't want any of that. I want to do high end stuff only because I feel like that is where Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream rises to the top.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was good, Joe.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
Thanks for the reference, bro.
By the way, the distillery is called Sideshow Spirits.
Yes, sir.
1630
Peace Street. We're the first ever legal distillery in Lincoln, Nebraska, in the state's capital. There's never been a legal distillery here. There's been a lot of illegal ones over the years, but there's never been a legal one, which is crazy because even pre-prohibition, I think like Omaha had like 2 or 3 distilleries, and there was one out in western Nebraska, and Lincoln has never once had a distillery here in the state's capital, which surprised me.
How hard was that process?
In what way? Legally?
Yes.
I mean, it's way harder than it should be, but we've gotten to the place now where the license to do the distillery, if you add the Fed and the state license and everything we have to do, and the city, it's about this much paper.
About 3 or 4 Bibles.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
one comparison.
I'm not a big reader.
I heard that's a good one, though.
It's a bestseller.
It's a bestseller. Is it a pain? Is it way harder than it needs to be? Yes. Do I want less regulation? Yes, always. But it is something that our team, like I said, we figured out how to put the right people in the right places to continue to build. And doubling business doesn't necessarily equate to doubling the work at this point. And we're kind of on this sweet spot where we can add another business, and we have accounting taken care of, and we have good legal, and we have good production, we have good sales, and we have all these people in place that are like, oh yeah, we can put that underneath. Like our head of sales, Lori, she's the best in the state of Nebraska. I will throw that down with anybody. She's the best liquor salesman, booze salesman, alcohol salesman in the state of Nebraska. And we didn't really have to beef her up a whole lot because she's already going out and hitting all of these locations with beer. And then we added our German beers in, and then we added our whiskey and our vodka and our other stuff in. And it's just her portfolio now, right? Like, so she's doing the same amount of trips to customers.
Just extending
she's just
the
selling
catalog
more.
of
It's
what you could
making
do.
her life easier.
It is, yeah. And it's better
One-stop
because
shop.
she gets to make more money and because she has more products to sell. So, yeah.
So I am not a big beer drinker.
Okay.
But I decided this weekend I was going to go down to Kinkaider and to Sideshow Spirits and try some beers.
Yeah.
I failed because I went to Kinkaider and I saw a drink called Tastes Like Schnozberries.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
That's one of ours.
That's going to be a hard one to start with.
and I'm like, I gotta have that,
And what did it taste like?
Schnozberries, which
As advertised.
Which then there was a discussion at our table because they're like, it's from Wonka. And I'm like, no, it's from Super Troopers.
Oh, my gosh, Chris.
That's awesome.
Which apparently in my life, I never paid attention in Wonka, but I sure did in Super Troopers. So then I had to Google it.
Yeah.
You ever Googled
Oh, yeah.
what that means?
Oh, I know what it means, bro.
Okay. Then I'm like,
He probably named the thing.
I'm like, well, son of a bitch.
So I do got to tell you, this is my Super Troopers story. So the Super Troopers guys were actually in town promoting their new movie on Hulu. And I got to give a shout out to Nate at McKinney's. Or actually, I think it was at Tipsy Tina's.
Tipsy
his other
Tina's,
spot.
yeah.
The guys were partying over there, having a good time, hanging out, bartenders hanging with them and stuff. And it was either Nate or one of his bartenders said, hey, there's some guys in town that actually make a beer called Schnozberry Sour. And they're like, what? Well, of course, we got to try this. So they tried it live. So if you go to the Super Troopers official Facebook, several million followers, and go down a few videos, you're going to see the guys trying our beer on their videos. It's still there posted. Yeah.
Well, it was good. And then I went to Sideshow Spirits, and you guys had a Schnozberry Mule. I'm like,
you just went in on it, bro.
I'm already in,
So there's this whole thing behind the whole Schnozberry thing too, is because our bartenders made up this whole backstory about how they're indigenous to the Sandhills of Broken Bow, and we do this big harvest party every year, and like it's all bullshit. Like, but
They
it's,
serve snipes on the platters to pair with it.
And so then one of our customers, this is how dedicated our customer base is. He made an entire website to the farm that harvests Schnozberries. It's ridiculous. I was like, what insane person made this? I'm going to hire him, and I actually ended up hiring him because of that.
That's awesome, though. That's a
so
story. So I still plan on going to have some beers at some point.
So you just drink spirits. So those were both. The Taste Like Schnozberries is actually they're both vodka based, and we're producing that vodka.
By the way,
too,
Schnozberries are dicks. Just so you know.
In some
Whoever
literary,
didn't Google it in the last
it's not
10
for
seconds.
me. It's not for me.
Apparently a very dirty Willy Wonka joke.
I've never.
So even
Googled that.
It's just got a cool purple logo.
Ronald, what's his name? Dahl, the author of that book, because he's even stepped that back a little. He said there is some reference, but it could be something else.
Just a fun word to
Just
say.
a fun
That's
word.
It is a fun word
It's
to
a silly
say.
goose.
Yeah.
And Super Troopers made it famous.
Yes.
So where were we? So the distillery, we decided to do that. Thank God that we put it under the umbrella of Kinkaider, because it's a way more expensive to start up a distillery than it is a brewery. I mean, we have some. I mean, because here's the deal: you can get sales going in about 14 days in a brewery, right? Grain to glass, about 14 days. Whiskey, I mean, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, we're pushing it. Our youngest whiskey is 3.5 years now, and that's kind of where we're gonna. We feel like in the bourbon world, 6 is about the maximum, 3 is about the minimum. So we're gonna play in that 3.5 to 5.5 year place, and so we had to wait, right? So
all right, we barreled up all of our whiskey.
Yep.
Now
let's hang out.
We wait 3 years.
See, that's the thing, dude. So we've got. I mean, I don't know what personal collections may be out there. But I think I own more bourbon than anybody in the state of Nebraska because we are just, I mean, we've got over 600 barrels of whiskey in storage right now.
Gosh.
And so if you think just for cases, it's about 30,000 cases.
So where would storage at, and what's that consist
Yeah,
of?
so the feds allow you to have extensions of your license, right? So we have what's called a Class Z license at the distillery where we do the production at 1630 P Street. 10 miles as the crow flies in a radius, I can put a warehouse anywhere or rent a warehouse anywhere and extend that license to that, right? I have to do some registration with the state, but it's fairly easy. So right now we have our place is bursting at the seams, but then I have a warehouse 18th and N right next to Canyon Joe's Barbecue. If you haven't been there yet, best barbecue. So we're right next door to him and just filling that full of whiskey barrels too. In hopes, like, I'll have dreams in the middle, and it's like, how the hell am I going to sell all this whiskey? But honestly, it's like it's going. Everything that we have that's coming off the line that we're proud of, that's ready to go, is selling like instantly. And now we're doing like private barrel picks, which is awesome. Got to give a shout out to Ruhlman's in Ashland, Nebraska. They're building this gorgeous restaurant there. I mean, it's going to be one of the best restaurants in the state of Nebraska. And they're going all in with Kinkaider and Sideshow. And so we actually sold them a private barrel, and their whole bar back is just covered in this private labeled whiskey.
That probably looks very cool.
Dude, it's going to be so
That's awesome.
Cool.
So I know you sell your Kinkaider beers at Hy-Vee, Super Saver, Wine, Beer, and Spirits. Do you sell any of your Sideshow Spirits?
Yes. So we released 6 products into the market. Our 4 canned cocktails, which we had to change some legislation to get those in, and then our peach whiskey and our jalapeno vodka. So just flavored stuff. We're keeping control. Our distributor is a beer guy, essentially right now. They're Budweiser guys, and they've been good on the Kinkaider side of things. They're still kind of figuring out the spirits side of things, and a beer guy doesn't always equate to a great spirit salesman. So we decided to keep the high-end whiskeys internal. We actually had to go change some legislation, so I hired a lobbyist. I went in, changed some legislation, got pushed through, went and talked to all the senators, and we got a certain level. I can self-distribute an X amount of gallons a year of spirits, and we have not hit that amount yet. So
that was just like a Tuesday thing you did that? Like,
Yeah, you're like, I'm just going to go lobby some people real quick. I'm going to stop brewing beer for a second.
Dude,
let's just go ahead and change some laws, okay?
I found out the only way to get anything done is to play that game.
Okay.
Right? Like to go in, especially in the liquor world, bro, because if you're not actively changing them positively, trust me, someone else is changing them negatively. So we pay a gal just to sit up there and monitor every year and say, hey, is there anything we need to play defense on? Hey, is there an opportunity for offense? You know, and so it's a whole nother deal, part of the business I never anticipated needing, but it's definitely needed.
Sounds like you have the team in place
we
anyway.
do. Yeah,
so.
we do. Yep.
So then how did Bierhaus...
Yeah. So after Sideshow, we got that rolling. We're brewing, we're distilling, doing all the things. We opened Omaha. We have one in a Kinkaider. Yep.
Yeah, but then you were still bored.
Kinkaider in Omaha, Xarban Village, 67th and Center. Maddie and her team do an excellent job there. I cannot brag on them enough. Oz, our current Bierhaus manager, actually started that location for me. So he went up, opened that one, and then when Bierhaus opened, pulled him back here. They're doing great, just small tap room, very similar to what we have in downtown Lincoln here. Then I am very German. My last name is Schmick. My dad's a butcher, like our family. We can trace him back to Russia and Germany. Have a great story of my grandfather coming over, and so that culture. I always tease that white people only have like two cultures. It's like German, Czech, or Irish, right? Like that's kind of our culture.
That's pretty spot on. Yeah.
So you can't throw a rock around here without hitting somebody of German or Czech descent, right? And so I hired this gal, Svenja. Svenja grew up in Germany. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she has the authentic German accent.
Oh, dude, beautiful, yeah. And so I bring Svenja in, and we're talking. So she kind of acted as a consultant for me. I said, "Listen, I don't want to be the dumb American here, but." I said, I don't want to build a German bar. And she kind of looks at me, and I said, I want to build a bar that Americans think a German bar is like. But authenticity matters too, right? So we want to make sure there's enough authentic things in there as well. And I think we've got such a good mix, right? I think it just turned out that corner at 8th and P, I think may be the best corner in the state of Nebraska for business. I mean, we opened that up, and it's just there's something about that place.
Chris,
and
there's something about drinking out of a boot at 8th and
It
P.
is, bro. It is.
We have boots?
We have Das Boot, man. It's a
Das
big
Boot?
deal. Yeah, so we got half-liter, and 2-liter boots there. So if you want to get really crazy.
I actually don't drink from a boot when I'm there. I drink from my beer club member stein.
Shoot, yeah. So I got to tell you about this. I love marketing. It's a big part of what I do. It's a big part of my day. It's probably my favorite part of my job. One of the best things that I feel like we've done as a team marketing-wise is we started this German beer club. And we have 300 lockers on site. People can pay a yearly fee. It's $150 a year. You have your own stein. You have your label, your name, or your business, or whatever it is on your locker. You get your own key, and you get monthly meetings, weekly perks, and then we try to do like 2 big things a year, and then some volunteer opportunities as well. The $150 a year is fine, right? That's some nice sales that we don't have to spend any money to get. But what this thing really got for us is this community of people. We have 300 people. I mean, it's almost sold out. I think last number was like 268 or something. Like we have just like 30 or 40 of them left to sell. And we're selling them every week, and it keeps growing. But we've built – it takes years to get the amount of regulars that we got with that. Just like that, overnight. And now all of these, I mean, if you're willing to pull out and throw $150, you're dedicated, right? And like we every year we change. So you start with the white mug, or the white stein, then you move to the black stein, then you move to the gold or the red, and then the gold, and then I'm gonna make for year 5. I'm gonna make like a fully custom ceramic one. And so I'm still working.
Joe, what year are you on?
He's
This
in
is Joe's
second year. Yeah,
he's in second year. Joe's been an excellent member.
That's it. As much as he talks about it.
Well, we've only been open for a year and a half, so Joe couldn't
I just feel like he was virtually involved somehow.
So many memories have been made already. So many fun things.
Joe is one of the few members that doesn't pay for his membership because he adds so much value on the other side. He really does.
Thanks,
you
guys.
do, bro. And,
I mean, I know all about it.
Yeah. So Joe's really good at adding value and just, I mean, I feel like he's kind of a part of our team, but you know what I mean? Even though I've never really paid him.
I mean,
he works
consider
here
part
at
of
Perch,
it.
but I think his business card also has Bierhaus on it. And we're like, what's this?
I do want to share our story a little later, but I'm right there with you. I feel like I'm part of the crew.
It's been great.
So, yeah.
It's been great, and everybody loves, and we have these people that have come together, and like it's so crazy. Like we'll throw Oktoberfest, right? We bring 5,000 people to the Haymarket of Nebraska, of Lincoln, Nebraska, and we serve thousands and thousands of pints of beer, and like we'll throw out a thing to the beer club. Hey guys, there's some volunteer opportunity. Dude, we get maxed out on volunteer. We had like 70 volunteers for the last event. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool community thing that people have just latched onto. It's crazy. So that one bar does almost as much volume as all of our other ones combined.
Oh my gosh.
No. Yeah, it's crazy.
So does it carry like all of your brands?
No, it doesn't. No. So we actually brewed an entirely different set of beers for that. So we have 20 taps on there.
Okay.
Half of them are our Bierhaus beers. So Jesse, who's Dan the Weiser's son, he's running everything at the brewery now. Jesse came to me and he said, because with the rise of IPAs and sours and fruited beers and all these things that sell really, really well, Jesse comes to me and goes, can we just make some beer-flavored beers?
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, but I'm going to start a whole nother bar to do it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the guys have been working on these German recipes, German purity laws to make the best German-style beers we possibly can, using these old-world recipes and these old-world methods to brew these German beers, right? And and to stay within that. And I think the guys knocked it out of the park. I mean, we have really, really good house German beers, and then the other half of the beers are imports. So it's actually from Germany and from other breweries. Like we have a really good partnership with Schell's Brewing out of Minnesota.
Newell, Minnesota. They have been a brewery for over 100 years, and they've always specialized on German beers. That was kind of their thing. So we bring them in. We always have a rotating handle of them. Prost is another one out of Denver that we rotate in once in a while. And then there's some local guys making some. If you make a really good German beer, there's a good chance we're going to throw it on tap at some point. So now we have this beer list that is completely different from anybody in the Haymarket, right? It is completely different. Yeah.
Not just kind of different. Like there's not nobody else has any of those beers on, you know.
No.
And
Can you get one of like a mixed drink or just straight?
No.
Okay.
So we decided a long time ago. That was one of the things that we did a little differently. A lot of craft breweries they just do their beer, and I get it. It's simple. It's easy. I totally understand that. I always was in the mindset, it's like if 3 guys are craft beer guys and 1 guy is not, I still want them to come, right? Because I can get those 3 guys. I'll serve this guy a rum and Coke or a whiskey or whatever, you know. And so we've always carried full bars at our at all of our spots. Yeah, so you can get anything. Yeah, you can get gin and tonic. You can get I mean,
I would still like to try. But I'm okay. So somebody like me.
Chris, they're really cool. So all of these German beers he's talking about that they make, they have these really long names that you're not going to be able to say, but they have animals attached to them. So you just say, "I want the fox."
Is that?
Yeah. Make it simple, baby. Yeah.
Okay. So the fox would be
instead
a good
of
one.
like a number 2.
I always had this idea for like animal, like just a brand that was completely driven by animals, you know. And I don't know. This just worked out.
Might
really,
have to
really
rename
well.
it Noah's Ark or the zoo.
It's already taken.
And it kind of felt like it fit, you know, the stag, the wolf, you know, it's like all those, the bear, like these things are all, and people are kind of attaching, and I wanted them to be completely different than Kinkaider beers too, because I want to take on my Kinkaider hat, put on my Bierhaus hat, because we're right next to each other. If we don't make very different experiences, there's going to be some cannibalization that goes on, right? So I wanted to have very different experiences, and it's really only helped both spots. And everybody's like, "Oh man, are you killing your other spot?" No, man, we're actually making more fans and sending them that way, you know.
Do you have like a sample one? Like if I said I like
a flight
beers, yeah,
you can do a flight there, yeah.
So, Chris, a flight is when you order like 2 ounces of each.
I've done it with mimosas in Vegas.
Oh, there you go.
It was great.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fancy.
Yeah.
So Joe is a member of the club at Bierhaus.
Yes.
I am a member of the Tuesday Pint Club.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah,
very good.
Kinkaider,
Yeah.
And
that was another good one that we.
That's a great marketing.
How many of those? How many cups do you own?
I only have 2, but
you only need
You
one.
only need one.
but mine does have Dan the Wiser.
Okay.
My orange cup
Nice.
has Dan the Wiser. on
Okay,
it.
when I was there was a telephone.
Yeah,
On the
Dan
wall.
phone, yeah.
Did you call him?
I did. I picked it up.
Yeah.
It rang 4 times and went to a voicemail.
Okay,
but I'm
did you
like,
leave him a
what?
voicemail?
I did not.
Oh, shit.
I thought about it.
So Dan
I froze and panicked and hung up.
Dan is retired now. He'll help however, whenever, and has on several occasions. But we started this Dan phone, so I'm going to give the marketing guy at Huddle, Anthony. Me and him were hanging out one night talking. I said, "Listen," I said, "Everybody loves Dan the Wiser, but that old man will not leave Broken Bow. Like, it's really hard for me to get him up here. It's hard to get him in Omaha. Like, he's just in Broken Bow, and so you almost have to go out there." And I said, "How can I like make more people connect with Dan?" Without him leaving,
Just put his.
and so we put a phone, a red phone, on top of the brewery. It's still there. And at all of our locations, we have auto dialer phones. You pick them up, and it auto dials that phone. And Dan can pick up if he's there. If not, it goes to a Google voicemail, and it actually sends it to both him and I. And then we'll pick them occasionally and play them or whatever.
What do you get?
Oh, dude, there's some wild
That's
ones.
what I. But he actually will answer the phone randomly.
He'll answer it.
Yeah. Does he love it?
No, he loves it, dude. So So he gets a little cocky sometimes because he'll come to Lincoln or whatever, and he'll be taking pictures, and everybody wants. I mean, people.
He's a celeb.
He's a celeb. Yeah, in the craft beer world, he's definitely a celeb.
I've had him autograph my Dan the Wiser shirt, and but there was one time I walk into Kinkaider, and what will get him into Lincoln is Mannheim Steamroller, because they had just watched them at the arena, and I walk in, I see Dan and Alice at the bar, and I'm like, oh my gosh! So I do a quick video of me dialing him up on the phone, and he's not answering. But then I pan over and he's sitting at the bar drinking. So Dan, answer your damn phone.
That's actually pretty clever, Joe.
So yeah, that was just a fun marketing thing that we did at one point, and it's just kind of become this thing where people. I mean, I get multiple messages every day from people.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sure some are good. Some are
different ratings, So, but yeah, when Dan starts getting cocky, though, I have to remind him. I say, "You may be Mickey Mouse, but I'm Walt Disney." Bitch.
Nice analogy.
You put him on the map.
Oh boy! I get an FU usually out of him. No, but yeah. So then the German bar has been going like mad, and then we just opened the rooftop. I don't know if you've been up to the rooftop. It's actually above the German bar. So the German bar is on floor 1. This is on floor 4. When I got into the building, I didn't realize there's this gorgeous rooftop deck that literally like 2 guys a day smoke on. And so I went to the landlord, Speedway, who's also been a fantastic landlord for me, and I said, hey, I want to do something up there. Would you guys consider some kind of a percentage rent deal? So when it's snowing or when it's raining, I can shut it down and not get hurt. And they loved the idea. So they threw some money in. We threw some money in. We built an entire bar in a shipping container. So I called my fabricator, Dale, and I said, hey, man, I said, you want a fun winter project? And he said, what do you got? I said, buy a shipping container, like one of those single ship ones from China that they don't send back. And I said, I want to put a bar inside of it.
And put it 40 feet in the air.
And then lift it up onto the 4th floor. And so he starts building this thing, doing all kinds of research. Built this beautiful bar that has hatches that open up on 5 sides. We hooked it up onto a lift or on a crane, pulled it up. We had about 100 people out there filming. The Mills patio was completely full of people out there filming and watching this thing. We set it into place, and a week later we opened the bar. So it's been going like gangbusters ever since.
It is packed every night. Yeah,
it sounds awesome.
The only time I ever tried to get up there, it was completely full.
Yeah,
you couldn't get up there.
We get to capacity every weekend and have to stop. I mean, we have 200 capacity up there, and so we get to 200, and then we have to go one in and one out after that, and we hit the capacity almost every single weekend. So. It's going to be a lot of fun for game days, too. People are going to have to get there early or else it's going to fill up.
The pictures from the spring game were just great. Just all red shirts all
fun.
over. Yeah.
So fun. We had some drones going around during that time. And so, the rooftop, we thought it was just going to be like this amenity to the beer house, and it's its own thing.
Yep.
It's completely separate. And I mean, same group still running it, but it's cool, man. It's kind of taken on a life of its own, and we have grown that place and have more plans to continue to grow. So we got one other thing that we're planning on doing in Lincoln, hopefully in the next year. I can't say a ton about that yet, but it'll be an expansion of Sideshow, which we're working on. And then, so
there's a little teaser.
Teaser, yeah.
Got it.
And then we started a coffee company about 3 months ago. So
Seems right in line. That would be the next progression.
We're just putting stuff in a cup and selling it, right?
We brew beer, we brew spirits.
Liquid.
It's
just liquid.
An energy drink.
See, I have a moral quandary with the energy drink thing because I think all these kids' hearts are going to start exploding, dude. So I have a little moral quandary with that.
I shot one right before you got here. So.
I don't do the energy drink thing, man. I don't.
As did I.
Yeah. But this one's been kind of crazy because this is the only business of the 8 that Barry and I have opened together where I didn't take the driver's seat because it's out in Broken Bow. We kind of fell into this. Broken Bow didn't have a coffee shop, and so we were looking into the whole scooters thing, and we were just going to do a scooters, right? Well, scooters, while a very, very good program, their fees are very high. And so I was like, we're in Broken Bow. Everybody's going to know that we're doing something. So we built our own brand. It's called Howdy Coffee Company. And it just uses like these old sayings that, your grandpa, your mom always used to. So I just start right. My mom talks like this. And so I was like, this will be a fun way to incorporate, some branding and kind of give something. So hootin' and hollerin', that's a big one. Ornery, that's a big one. The hell I won't, that's a big one. Over a barrel, I had to explain to my mom what over a barrel meant. She's like, he's got me over a barrel. I was like, Mom, do you know what you're saying?
So just people ordering it.
Arm and a leg,
just,
mosey on down, high horse. I want to do a cocktail on 420 and call it high horse.
Oh, nice. Get off your high horse.
Hence clucking. That's a good one. Say howdy, stay rowdy is our whole thing, and so it's been fun, man. And it's funny because the Cowboys out in Broken Bow like the brand, but then it's almost like, I don't know, ironic enough that like people in Lincoln are like, when are you bringing one here? So
I'm pretty sure I heard Joe Horacek say every single one of those the last time we hung out together.
Joe should probably be my spokesman for that one. So no, it's going really good, man. We're a few months in now and learning the coffee business and we've got some really cool things that we're offering and hopefully be able to move that business elsewhere. And so then the last other thing that as we're listing them is I have a consulting company called Barco, and basically I take 2 clients on at a time. I personally believe small business is going to save the world, and so I want to make sure that small businesses have every chance to succeed. And in my industry, I feel like I've made every mistake that you can make, and so if I can help somebody else by not making those mistakes. So just opened a bar with a group in Hampton, Nebraska called The Loading Chute, working with the guys in Ashland at Ruhlman's. Working with a catering company in town. Worked with that Hale Varsity Hurrdat Sports Bar. They were one of my first clients. So it's really great because I don't have any hobbies. I don't golf. You don't
have time.
It's hard for me to see the value, right? Like I've always had, like I should have, like for my mental health, I should probably go get a hobby, but it's hard for me to see the value because it's like every minute I'm playing golf, I could be doing something that's like growing my business, and maybe I just need to not. But what I've found is this consulting thing makes me unplug from my stuff, focus on your stuff for a while, and then when I come back to my stuff, it's like I'm revigorated then, and so that's been good. I did start playing pickleball though.
Did you really?
I'm getting pretty good.
I feel like that is the next,
honestly, it's super fun, man. It's super fun. I grew up playing tennis. And so that was a big part of what my parents were really good at tennis. And so, this pickleball.
I used to play racquetball, and it just seems like all the racquetball players are like, well, this is a lot slower.
It's way more fun.
Easier.
Yeah. Dude, it's so fun.
I haven't done it yet.
I have not done it yet either.
You should come play, dude. Tuesday at 10:30 if you want to come play.
In the morning?
Yep.
We're working.
Oh.
Well, I can go. Joe can't.
I didn't invite Joe. I didn't invite Joe. I just invited you.
Because he knows he can't beat me.
Have you ever played, Joe?
No, I have not.
No.
But I'll come dressed for the part. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, man. So it's been great, man. You're just growing, doing these things. We get to make our dreams into a reality. We got about 140 people on the team across these locations now, and no signs of slowing at the current.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we always do our oh shit moments. Which, Jesus, I think we just went through every single one of your
moment.
For your good oh shits.
Yeah.
But out of all those good ones, like, what was the one thing when you were like, "This is it"? I mean, let's be honest. You're kind of living every dude's dream right now.
So the first, I got a good one. The first time I was like, dude, we're doing something here, was I got hit up by this producer out of New York for a morning show called The Chew. It was on ABC. I don't know if you guys remember that show.
Oh, yes.
It's called The Chew.
I think I know where you're going with this one.
And it had 3 personalities on there that you would know. You would know that I can't recall their names, but you would know these people. They're just like, this is what they
professional
do,
chefs and
and this producer said, "Hey, the chef on here heard about your jalapeno beer, and he would like to drink it live on the air." And I said, okay, what does that look like? She's like, you just send us this. I'll pay you for it. Like, she didn't even ask for free stuff. She goes, I'll pay you for it. I was like, oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. So I sent him this case of Devil's Gap jalapeno beer. And I said, hey, will you give me a heads up of when this is going to go on live? Because I would like to do a watch party or something, to kind of blow it up. Well, of course, she texts me, and she's like, they decided it's going on today. So you're literally – so we were literally in – I was getting ready to open Kinkaider Lincoln is when this happened. So we were actually eating over at JTK's, eating lunch at JTK's next door, and I get this text from her. And we turned it on and watched it. And yeah, dude, it was so funny. He talked about that beer on national TV on the morning show, and my phone just exploded after that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that would be your
notifications, emails from all over the country.
And they said great stuff. Like, this is a perfect summer beer while you're grilling.
Yeah.
This is refreshing.
He goes, I can't think of a better beer you could have with a burger out on the grill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like a really good recommendation from this high-end celebrity chef, So it was some
we're not talking local.
No.
Said, we're talking
It was
national.
some nice validation. And
then you tell them, well, come down to Nebraska. Well, that's probably the guy with the truck. He's running it back up to New York.
Right? Yeah.
It's him.
It's that exact chef.
Okay, so as a business owner myself, I know there's still the shit.
Yeah.
This is, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've had a few of those over the years. We've never gotten so close to the edge that we're like, okay, this is it. We got to
shut it down.
Yeah. But we have had, so when we first went into the Sideshow building, we decided we needed some quick cash, right? Because we knew it was going to be expensive to get up and running on this distilling side. So we used the back room. That's an 11,000 square foot space. We used the back room for production. And the front room, we put in a concept called Boombox Social. And Boombox was a blast, but a big old pain in the ass to run, And my initial thought of Boombox is there's a bar in Kansas City called Up Down, and I always just thought it was such a cool bar. It was like an arcade bar, but it was more than that. It was like it felt bigger and better and cooler and more trendy, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna do a version of this. We're gonna have good pizza, we're gonna have some fun arcade games, and we're gonna have a cool neighborhood bar. And we opened this up and we built this out, and it was beautiful and it was fun. It was cool. And we were busy for about 6 hours a week, 3 hours on Friday night and 3 hours on Saturday night, basically 11 p.m. till 2 a.m. and the rest of and we were open 7 days a week at the start, and we were busy 6 hours of those. And the crazy thing is we did enough business in those 6 hours to pay for the rest of the week.
Gosh.
But it just got to this place where there was something always broken. There was always a fight. There was always, and our audience was getting younger and younger and younger. And now all of a sudden we're turning away hundreds of fake IDs at the door, and we're turning away, and it's like, and then these kids come in and listen, I want the kids to party, but I woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to be the facilitator for this party anymore, but it sucked because we had spent a bunch of money building this concept and this brand and the furniture, and I mean we went all out on this concept. I thought it was a really good concept, and so but it just wasn't pulling people in. And that location, we really got that location first for production, second for the bar, right? Yeah. And so it's cheaper. It's about a third.
You're not going to find that sort of space downtown.
No, bro. And so I woke up one day and I mean, it was like one of the first nights, and my dumbass, I brought glass into this bar, right? And they were branded, beautiful glassware, and I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to teach these kids how to act, right? And it's like, this isn't just your normal O Street college bar experience. I'm going to elevate this a little bit. I didn't teach them shit, right?
They taught you.
They taught me. Never serve them in glass, never serve glass. But so we could have kept that going, but it was one of those deals where it's like, what's the right thing to do here? Sideshow was growing. We needed more space. Boombox was working, but it was hard. It was really hard. And I woke up one day and I was like, all right, looking at my phone, did the cops have to be called? Who got into a fight? Was the money right? Like, it was a lot. And I realized, oh, man, the craft beer drinker is the chillest customer.
That makes
and
sense,
then this drinker I'm trying to get a $3 shot out of that they don't even tip the bartender. Yeah. It's just
your employees are pissed. It's way more
Our
headaches.
employees were pissed. So they weren't pissed because we made it set up, but it was a lot. It was a lot, bro. And so, like, Micah was one of our bartenders at Boombox, and he put in his notice. And this was one of the things that kind of made me start thinking of unwinding it. And he goes, hey, Bob, Saturday's going to be my last night. I said, cool, man. Good luck to you wherever you go. We just had a banger Saturday. And he gets done, and he's counting his tips, and
that wasn't too bad.
He had over $900 in tips on one
Holy
night.
smokes.
On his last night?
On his last night. And I go, Micah, are you sure you want to quit, bro? And he goes, I'm actually glad I killed it tonight, because a normal night there would be like $500-$600 for him. He goes, I'm glad I killed it tonight because I can still say I'm going. It's not worth it. Like, shit.
$900 was not worth what he went through. That's not good.
Dude, listen, you know what? I'm really excited for the next generation, but man, when they party, they become animals. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure they were saying that about us, so.
I'm sure they were, yeah.
No, I don't think so. Even though Cody was in a heavy metal band for...
There's that.
You do not look like the kind of guy that's in a heavy metal band.
I was about 100 pounds lighter, and my hair was down to here, and I could headbang with the best of them. But,
oh my God!
Yeah.
You need to put that picture like on a beer can of some sort.
You could make up a legend at Kinkaider about it.
Yeah.
Joe, how did you guys meet? Come on, tell the story.
That's a
Tell
good
the
story.
story.
That's a good story.
So I'm going to back up a little bit to the first time I had Kinkaider beer. I was doing some Buffalo Bill stuff out in North Platte, and we went to the bowling alley as a rap party. And
of course you did.
Yeah, one of the ladies was showing us around. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna love it. They have Kinkaider beer here on tap." And I thought she's like having a stroke. I'm like, what's Kinkaider? I didn't ever hear of that word before. Anyway, try they had the Snow Beast on tap, and there was also I don't know the name of it, but it was like a really smoky beer.
Oh, the Sticka Alt is what it was.
Yeah.
We only made that a couple of times, but I remember that. It was a smoked alt beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've never tasted any beers like those before. And then just the simple Dan the Wiser.
Yeah.
And immediately fell in love with Kinkaider.
Yeah.
Found out they're coming to Lincoln, years later. Just so stoked. I didn't know Kinkaider was a part of the Boombox Social at the time.
Okay.
And somehow Afro Man is going to be performing.
Oh, yeah, I booked Afro Man there.
Yeah.
No kidding?
That's a whole other story. But yeah.
Afro
He's a
Man.
goddamn professional, I'll tell you that much, though.
He's awesome. So I didn't want to pay the online fees, so I walked into Boombox, and I'm like, hey, I was wanting to buy some tickets, and Cody just happened to be there when I'm asking him. He's like, oh, sorry, it's only online because they're selling the tickets. But hey, you're the American role model, aren't you?
I knew him, yeah.
And
I
I'm like,
followed him
how the hell do you know that? He's like,
The one time this finally pays off for Joe.
Exactly. And he's like, I'm the idiot that has to like all the stuff you do with Kinkaider beer.
Oh,
Well, I
because you
just
would
found
tag them?
Yeah, I
I
found
would
this
tag.
guy
Okay.
that's like giving me commercials, and they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I could tell, he was building content and doing the thing, but
Yeah.
it was like he's making these. Like I never asked him to. I'm not paying him to do this, and so I appreciated that.
And so we went to the show. We got it.
What a fun show!
Him and it was the after party. So Afro Man's taking pictures with his fans. Cody walks up with his photographer. We all get a group selfie with Afro Man, and after that, I'm like, I need to get into this Kinkaider world. Like I need to be a part of this.
Did Afro Man recognize you as well?
He just
Are you American role model?
Oh, you're like, you silly white boy. Yeah,
We did have a Colt 45 special going on that night.
that's right. Yeah, shortly after pandemic, I saw that Boombox Social was looking for karaoke hosts, so I was dragging my feet a bit, but I reached out to Cody and said, all right, I'll do it. He's like, sorry, man, we just got it filled.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's fine. But we might have something better for you. and it's bingo host. So I got in to be their bingo host every Thursday night, and it was a hit.
It was great, bro.
It was so much fun.
Joe did a really good job as a bingo host.
Kept me around to go do
really good job.
Kinkaider.
He did. So if you ever need him to like roll something and then read the he's good at that.
The funny part, the very first night of bingo, the very first ball, I was rolling the cage, and the ball comes out and bounces out of the thing, off the stage, rolls across the restaurant floor, and I'm like, wow, this is a great start to this whole campaign. All right.
So was it serious? Because like I've been to the bingo hall on Superior.
It's not serious.
It was pretty
It's
chill.
serious. There.
No, it's not.
we're not doing
I'm
My
playing
sister-in-law,
bangers.
no, my wife, she like said bingo too early, but she really thought she had it.
Oh,
and
she'll get
literally-
stabbed. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody goes bullshit,
Yeah.
and sure shit,
Yeah.
it was bullshit. She had it wrong.
They knew.
They knew. I was like, oh.
Dude,
Okay.
People get serious about it. Now we're pretty lighthearted with it, but yeah, I mean that was probably one of those times where we're like, man, we probably shouldn't have spent this much money. This bar didn't really do what we thought it was going to do. It turned way more nightclub than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to the place where we were having DJs like 7 nights a week there because that would be what would pull the kids in, and we were just trying to chase that, and then it just became not fun, and so
It wasn't your vision.
It wasn't our vision, and it wasn't what we wanted to do. I loved the brand. I still like the brand, so we still do pop-ups to this day. So every year we do a Halloween party, and we just actually finalized it today.
November 1st, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so
mark
we're
your
actually
calendars.
going to do 2 days.
Oh, we are?
So we're going to do August. or
Joe says we like it's like he's involved.
No, he's definitely involved. So 10/31, we're going to do just like a general kind of Halloween party, and then 11/1, we're going to do basically all the old DJs from Boombox will each play. Like we'll have duel. And everybody gets like a 30-minute set. So as soon as this person's done, this person starts. As soon as this person's done, and it's just boom, boom, boom.
We will be there to support Joe.
Yes, we will.
So this year we're doing
Make
something
some
really.
T-shirts for that.
Deal.
We're doing something really cool with it this year. We're going to do our first ever secret show, Halloween. So tickets will be for sale. The DJ, there'll be codes for the DJ. So if you buy a ticket and put in Joe's DJ code, you get $5 off, and then it pays him $5 as well. And that's how the DJs can make a little extra money and help promote it. 2 nights in a row, 200 tickets a night. And then once it's sold out, we can't let another person in, and everybody will get a text the day of letting them know where they're going.
Oh, that's
it's
so
going to be
cool.
in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's going to be in downtown Lincoln, Nebraska.
But you don't know the location.
But I know the location.
Yeah.
Nobody
He
else.
doesn't. He doesn't
He
know.
does not know the
I don't know.
location. Yeah.
I know the location.
He can't tell me because it'll leak.
So we're gonna do. I just got the confirmation from the guy that owns the building, and we're gonna do a really cool pop up. So you
Did
have
you
to
let
buy
him know, Chris?
The governor's mansion.
You have
You're
to buy
the owner of the building. That's awesome.
You have to buy a ticket, and you have to come dressed in a Halloween costume. I'm not going to let you in. I'll refund you, but I'm not going to let you in. So yeah,
I love
it's gonna
it.
Be fun. Yeah, we'll do some good costume contests, stuff like that. But we use that Boombox branding to do that pop up party at least once a year. So yeah.
Oh, and one other thing with Sideshow Spirits, when you had me on, you had all my personalities.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to mention that he actually had me come as Mo
Yeah.
for on the website.
Yeah.
So I dressed up like the spirits guy on the label, and I'm showing
got
you
it.
around
Like their mascot.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mascot. Yeah.
So what you need to do, go on our website, and Mo is going to slide across the screen. And if you, it doesn't tell you to click it, but if you click it, a pop up
Yep.
will show up, and
And
you
it's
have to check it
actual
out.
Joe.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Sideshow
It's a
Spirits
really-
has
it's a really
whole
great
bunch
video.
of secret things inside of it.
Yeah.
And it just goes with the flow of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you do tours there. But
We do,
you,
yeah.
You don't do them on the weekends.
So
but
we
it
do.
looks-
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do them on Sundays. So we went to Kentucky, took out a kind of a page out of their handbook, and really invested on a really, really cool distillery tour. So it starts in our history hallway. We go through the history of bourbon, through the history of Lincoln, Nebraska, and as with bourbon, and then our personal history. Then you go in see how it's all made, and walk through a few secret doors, which is kind of fun. So we added some elements in, and then we finish in our tasting room, and you get to try 5 of our spirits. We book them. I mean, we're doing them weekly, so I bet that's
they're
available Monday through Saturday
if you have,
every week.
Family coming to town or something. Like, we got some cool stuff here.
Get on our website and you can see exactly what's booked, what's not booked. As big as 8 people. If it's over 8 people, just let us know. We don't like to go over 15 or 20 on a group tour, but you can go as little as 2, as much as 8 booking online. So, and then we do private events over there as well. We have a really nice private event space that people can come in. It's super cheap. You can have up to 100 people in there, and outside cater, just hit a $500 drink minimum. You're good to go. So we book that all the time too. So we're one of the only event spaces that doesn't do our own food, so people can bring their own stuff in. So it's been cool, man, just to try to grow the different aspects of what we got going here in Lincoln. I mean, having 3 spots in downtown Lincoln has been it's been pretty wild, but a ton of fun. So
I have a question. You're in these businesses all the time. If you could give one recommendation to have for a drink at each one, what would you choose?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So at Sideshow, good question, but at Sideshow we have a double barrel rye whiskey, and it's a higher end whiskey, but I love an old fashioned. It's the best old fashioned you'll ever drink, dude. Double barrel rye whiskey, make an old fashioned. At Bierhaus, I'm probably a lemonade radler guy. I like it because it's low alcohol. I can drink a bunch of them and not slow.
The new
words.
Owl one?
The new Owl.
Oh,
it's
it's
called the
so
Owl
good.
Lemonade Radler. That's probably what I pull most of the time out of there. I love our Pilsner there, too, if I want a beer-flavored beer. And then over at Kinkaider, my go-to is 4 County Pale Ale. We don't always carry it. It's one of our legacy brands. But I really like that beer. If not that, I go for usually whatever's new. So we have it's called the Wiser Choice, and it's Dan gets to basically come in, or Jesse they get to brew anything they want on a 1-barrel batch, and they literally can do anything they want for development. And so they'll brew crazy beers.
Yeah, how nuts do they go with it?
I mean, sometimes they get really wild. I mean, we did one beer one time. This is kind of a fun full circle beer. So we had what's the home brewer? Jason. He owns the where do women get their hair cut? What are those called?
The salon.
He owns that salon right on 9th Street, right downtown. And he's a big bearded guy, home brewer, kind of a smaller guy, but big beard.
Oh, my gosh.
You would know him. He's part of the Lincoln Loggers. So we did a collab beer with him and a Tea Smith place, and we made this chai tea stout. I mean, it was as thick as motor oil, dude. I mean, this stuff. It was
like you try to pour it and it just
just glug glug glug. I said it was chewy, right? It was like the chewy beer, but it was this high end spice blend to make this chai mixture, and then we went with like a really high gravity not a porter, stout beer, and it was this, we called it a dirty chai stout, and dude, it was, because it had a little coffee in there too. It was absolutely money. And that chai mix that was made for that, my buddy Danny, who owns Stories Coffee in Omaha, still makes that chai, and so he's producing it. And we're buying it from Omaha, taking it clear to Broken Bow, and that's our chai for our coffee company that all went off of that.
Oh, my gosh.
And, dude, if you're a chai latte fan at all, this will ruin all other chai lattes for you. It's amazing, dude. It's amazing.
Comes with a warning.
Yeah. So that, just wild stuff like that, where there was, a 4-way collaboration on this beer that it was just, all right, what can we make?
That's so cool that you can go, all over the place and still end up with something very good, high quality.
The thing about the craft beer world right now is if you don't have passion people on your team, you're going to fail. It's one of the only industries, in my opinion, that you are going to fail if you don't have a passionate person. So that means if we get to the place where everybody's like, I'm not really a beer guy, I'm not really interested, I don't know.
Is that a question on an interview there?
What's that?
Are you passionate?
Yeah.
Are you passionate
so
about
listen,
craft
not
beer?
everybody in our company
Check yes or
is, right? But we have to have those people.
Yeah,
the
glue.
So, and there's some folks that don't even drink beer that are on our team that do an excellent job, but they can't be in charge of the development and the excitement and the research and the everything that goes behind building a proper beer. So it's something that I've seen places try to do this because craft beer feels trendy or craft beer feels easy or it's a business that, hey, I like beer. Maybe
I'm sitting in my garage with my 3 friends and Kinkaider did it, so I might as well do it.
I would say, especially right now, don't do it. It's a bad time to start a brewery today. You know what I mean? We've seen a couple close, but once again, I think if we can weather any of these storms, we're only going to be better at the end. And our team is in a really, really good place. We're one of the only craft breweries in the state that is actually still growing. You know, it's slowed. The growth has slowed for sure. The industry has kind of hit a roof, but we're still edging up a little bit. So it's been fun, man. Yeah.
So we're here in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep.
What are the fun things you like to do on your free time?
I just told you.
I guess
Pickleball does not count.
Not fun?
No.
or favorite restaurants that you like to visit.
Yeah, so
You cannot say your own.
No, I won't say my own. So probably my 3 favorite spots in Lincoln that Kristen and I rotate. We love Casa Bovina. But you gotta drop a little coin when you got there. But it's very worth it. We love those dudes. They have actually, if you look in their local whiskey section, all Sideshow, baby. They've went all in with us, so we're really happy with that relationship. So I try to take people out there as much as we can. We love that spot. I think Venue is freaking rock solid, dude. Like, I mean, I know you Lincolnites have been with them forever, but they do a really, really good job. And then I think the Oven in downtown.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I've never been to the South one, but their one right across from Bierhaus is money, dude. Those are the my 3.
South one has
spots.
a different vibe.
Yeah.
Same food, but different vibe. It's not as.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love the guys downtown, and they know, I love wine too, and they know they have a great wine list there, and so
that's probably your next. When does the
nah,
winery
bro,
open?
like it's hard to make good wine in Nebraska. I mean, it's really we just don't have the grape. We don't have the. We would have to import juice, and we'd have to do all the things. Once again, I don't feel like this is the region. I mean, I think there's some guys that have made some really good wine products here in the state. It's just not. I want like the dry. I like the Malbecs. I like Argentina. I like California. I like French wines, and it's hard to. I know a lot about wine too, Joe. I do.
I'm a wine drinker. Yeah.
I'm learning new things about you every day.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I mean, I think for us right now is we have 4 really solid brands that all have a ton of growth potential, and so how can I, move each one forward just a little bit without sacrificing anything that we've done, and that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to focus on the development of our management line of people, right? So there's me and Barry, and there's all of our managers across everything, and then everybody else. And I'm really trying to develop these people right now because I feel like the only way that we can grow anymore is to make these people just completely solid. So I'm trying to invest in them right now.
In that core group?
Yeah, that core group. Yeah. If everybody else left us, man, we could still run the ship, So it's we've been really blessed to have some excellent people that care about more than just a paycheck too. And it's I mean, when we opened Kinkaider downtown, I got the same 5 gals that opened that place.
I see the same girl every Tuesday, dude.
Tiff?
Yeah. No, is it Tiffany or Allison?
I think it's Tiffany.
Yeah. So it's like Tiffany, Allison, and then Krista and Sarah, and they've all been with me forever. Sophia was the 5th, but she's just the AGM job over at Bierhaus. So yeah, but Lincoln has been really good to us. I have my gripes with Lincoln overall, but it's politically more than anything. But from the customer base and just being able to grow the way we've grown, Lincoln's been awesome for us, man. It's been a great place to live and grow and do a business. So could not be more thankful for what I get to do every day.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
bro.
for coming and being on our
Great
podcast.
questions, man.
Thanks for hanging.
Yep. Thank you so much, Cody.
Appreciate you guys.
So glad you were able to make time out of your busy schedule.
Thanks for making this
Joe's
happen.
hero was here. So.
I have a shirt I need you to autograph later. So
We'll do that. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.